Hello and welcome to the second installment of my horror DVD collection. Now I ended on Alien 3, so I'll go right on to the fourth film, which is Resurrection. Now this was released in 1997, and like Alien 3, it doesn't have the best reputation. It's generally not considered to be on par with the first two movies. And this one's directed by a French guy who, again, I won't attempt pronouncing because I'll stuff it up. I know he done The City of Lost Children, which is a film I really enjoyed, and it kind of retains that ethereal quality. Can't go into the story because it's spoiler territory, and it follows on pretty closely from Alien 3. But it is on familiar grounds this time. It's back on a spaceship. What's good about this movie is the casting. It's got a lot of good actors in it, like Brad Dourif and Ron Perlman, and of course Sigourney Weaver. It's hard to talk about this movie like Alien 3 because it's so radically different. So on that basis, it's a rent. And I got this as part of the Alien Quadrilogy set, which I think is an essential purchase for any horror fan. It contains both the theatrical and the director's cut of all the movies, plus a whole host of extras, so yeah, go out and get this one. Next up is Alligator. Now, I'll classify right off the bat that you can't get this one in Australia, which is a real travesty because it's a great film, and it tackles that age-old urban legend we've all heard about the alligator being flushed down the toilet, although this one becomes mutated and goes on a big killing spree. So from that you can judge it's a horror comedy, and with a lot of horror comedy hybrids, they're often pulled off hackishly, but this one's done really well. Roger Corman's involved with it, which might send off warning signals, but the production quality is actually pretty good, and the alligator looks pretty realistic. The end scene at the wedding has got to be one of the most fun scenes in a horror movie, so if you get it for that scene alone, definitely recommend this one. Next up is American Psycho. Now, a lot of people probably wouldn't consider this a horror movie. It's funny how that happens when a movie comes out that's critically acclaimed and it's a horror movie. They say it's not a horror movie, Silence of the Lambs, but this is a horror movie. Anyway, it deals with 80s yuppieism and consumerism and greed, that whole Gordon Gekko world. The character of Patrick Bateman is a great creation. He has a lot of great one-liners. He's played by Christian Bale. He's basically a closeted psycho who indulges in his violent tendencies on bums and prostitutes. I think this film is really clever, especially the conclusion, which, at least to me, posed the question whether the whole thing took place or whether they were just indulged fantasies in his mind. It's interesting to note, though, this was directed by a woman, which you might not think, but yeah, anyway. Next up is American Gothic. Again, American release, Region 1. So this one follows a similar synopsis to Hills Have Eyes or Deliverance, with like a backwoods family, and basically these college students, their plane, they can't get it to work again, so they seek refuge with this family who's this 50s era authoritarian religious fanatics, and yeah, it kind of descends into lunacy. It's a fun movie. The children act, well, they are called children, but they're about 40 years old and they act like they're 5, so that's funny in itself. But anyway, there's mummified babies, and it stars Rod Steiger, who's an Academy Award winner, and Yvonne De Carlo, who's from The Munsters. So yeah, I'd say check this out. It's more like a kind of slasher, like an 80s campy kind of movie. So yeah, it's worth seeing. Next up is An American Werewolf in London. Now, this is done by John Landis. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. It's a horror comedy, although it's interesting to note that John Landis vehemently states that this is a horror movie. He wanted to make a horror movie, and the comedy elements come second to that. It's got a lot of memorable scenes in it, like the beginning on the moors, very atmospheric and creepy. Of course, the Piccadilly scene in Piccadilly Circus, and the infamous transformation sequence by Rick Baker. The comedy and horror are balanced really well, and you can see the talent behind the camera. It's really well directed. So if you haven't seen this, rush out and see it. It's a great movie. Next up is a personal favourite of mine. It's Angel Heart. Now, this one's a really strange movie. It's more psychological, and basically the story is a man, a bounty hunter, detective type, who's played by Mickey Rourke, is charged with finding a man called Johnny Favourite by Robert De Niro. And from there, it kind of descends into this weird mind fuck. And the ending, I don't know, it just makes you shake your head. I don't want to spoil it, but I want to spoil it. I won't say any more, but yeah, this is a really good movie, and it's directed by Alan Parker, who done Pink Floyd's The Wall. It's interesting too that like Mickey Rourke, Robert De Niro, the director Alan Parker, they've discounted this movie. They don't look back fondly on it, although I don't know why, because everything is done so good. I'd really recommend this one to everyone. Next up, I'll try and breeze through these because they're not my favourites. Anatomie. Now, this is a recent German horror movie, and it stars, I'll try to say her name, Franca Potente. I don't know how to say it, but you know her from the Bourne films. Basically, it's about this doctor's fraternity, this kind of Freemasons society who's doing all these ghastly experiments on people. And Franca, I'll just say Franca, she's a medical student and she becomes entwined in it. I mean, it's an okay movie. It's got good gore, although it's clinical gore. It's very clean, so keep that in mind. This is a rent, definitely a rent. Next up is the sequel. Yay, the sequel. This is even worse. I don't like this movie at all. It's pretty much a retread of the first movie with a few small alterations. I wouldn't even say this is really a rant. If you like the first movie, check this one out, but I'm not really a fan of it. Next up we have, a Mario Bava movie, Baron Blood. And this is known under quite a few titles. It's not one of his more famous movies, but it's. I'm a big fan of Mario Bava. This movie, if I had to rank them, this is probably my least favourite that I've seen. Although saying that, it's not a bad movie. It's very European. It takes place in a castle with barons and bats. You know the thing. It's got Elkie Summers and Joseph Cotton, some horror veterans. It is very stylish. It's very colourful, like all of Bava's movies. I'd say if you're a Bava completist, definitely get this. If you're a horror movie fan, check it out. It's a good movie. I'd say it's a good movie. Well, this one has a special place in my heart. It's Basket Case. Now, I don't know how you got involved with horror, but this is one of the main reasons I got involved in horror. When I was a kid, horror movies were kind of this mystical thing that people talked about in kind of hushed voices. And my friend's father always used to talk about Basket Case. And it just sounded so outlandish, so strange. I always saw it in the video store, but when I finally grew up, I was able to see it, and yeah, it's basically it confirmed my love for the genre. It's from New York. It's very low budget, but it's just a very fun movie. It's about a Siamese twin, a deformed Siamese twin who's carried around in a basket by his brother, and he becomes homicidal. Well, he's basically homicidal from the start, but he gets jealous when his brother attracts attention from a young woman, and yeah, it basically becomes this really strange, bloody romp. It's very gory, it's very funny. It's directed by Frank Henenlotter. It's a really good movie. You have to see this one if you haven't seen it. Alright, that's probably the conclusion point for this second episode. Look for the future episode in the future. Thank you for watching.